It is a new day. Light begins to dawn. Rays of life, giving energy, break forth in glorious splendor. It is the dawning of a new day in consciousness. The light of illumination begins to break upon you from within. You are a spiritual being, a light being. You have been endowed with 12 cosmic powers, 12 gifts of light: faith, strength, wisdom, love, power, imagination, understanding, will, order, enthusiasm, release, life. Accept your 12 powers. Burst forth into the dawning of a new way of life. Join with a lively trio, a minister, psychotherapist, and medical doctor, as they discuss healing of the physical, psychological, and spiritual aspects of your whole being. Here is a holistic approach to staying vitally alive and healthy, presented by well-known authors and professionals in their fields.
Faith is a power that we all have. Charles Fillmore, the American mystic, said that faith is the perceiving power of our minds. It is insight. It is the ability to see with our thoughts. He said the idea that faith is something that has to do only with our religious experience is incorrect. He said it is a self-evident power that we have. He said people who have faith in themselves achieve far more than those who do not believe in their own ability. So do we have self-doubt, or do we look on ourselves as being inferior? Or do we see our true worth, our value? Faith has often been called the rock or the foundation on which we stand. There's a wonderful dialogue in the Bible between Simon, who Jesus then called Peter or Petros, which means rock, because Simon realized and he said to Jesus, "You are the Son of the living God." That is, he recognized Jesus' true self. And Jesus realized that he had this insight, and so he said, "You are like a rock, Simon. You are Petros, you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build." This is the foundation stone. This is the foundation of life, to see the truth about ourselves, that we are the expression of God. This is the truth on which we stand.
Faith is the perceiving power of our mind. Our perception of ourselves is so incredibly important. And Robert, you wear glasses, don't you?
I sure do.
Can I see those glasses?
Sure.
And you got these from an optometrist.
I did.
They're very nice glasses, and I presume you paid a lot of money for your glasses.
Yes, I did.
Yes. And David, these are really good glasses, and I'd like you to put these glasses on, and I'd like you to just look through those glasses. Robert paid a lot of money for those glasses, and they're really going to help you to see better. David, what's going on?
Everything is strange. It's blurry.
A little blurry. It's okay, David. What I want you to do is think more positive. If you think more positive, David, you're going to really experience a different perception, right?
No, I can't see anything. These are not right for me. These are Robert's glasses. I can't see with them.
That's right. You can. And many times in
Can
our
I take them
you
off?
can, David. Please take those glasses off. Because those glasses were made for Robert. And the perception and the way that we perceive ourselves is so important. Sometimes we're putting on someone else's perception of us, and we're saying that's who we are. And it causes us great distress and very uncomfortable feelings to have that perception.
That's right. And sometimes we take others' perceptions of us and we look on ourselves as they look on us, and maybe they have a limited view. There was a woman named Myrtle Fillmore, and she was told that she was going to die because she inherited tuberculosis, which ran in her family. And so she took that view, that image, that perception of herself, and she held on to it, and she was dying. She went to a metaphysical lecture and she heard a phrase, an affirmation, a statement of truth, that I am a child of God and therefore I do not inherit disease. She took that image of herself, that affirmation, that prayer thought, and she held on to it. She centered her faith in that. I am a child of God. I am filled with health and healing power. She started to get well. Others started to notice this and to realize that something was happening, her husband and others. And so from this perception of herself as dying to a person who is expressing healing power, she redefined herself. She rethought herself. She recreated herself. And she was healed. And even more important than that, she lived 40 more years and influenced millions of people because this one person, Myrtle Fillmore, changed her thought about herself and got a new perception of who she really is and the power that is within her. She used her faith to affirm this healing power as a child of God.
On this rock I will build. This is what Jesus said to Peter, who represents our own spiritual quality of faith. So where do you think this rock is? Where is it in our physical body? Well, it's right here, right at the top of the head. It's this hard, rock-like, bony skull. Now, more accurately, it really is the brain that's within the skull that's the rock of faith. The brain is our central computer station, and it especially involves this uppermost section, which is called the cerebrum of the brain. This is our computer, and it's an incredible, incredible computer because all of our thoughts and feelings, our dreams, our memories, our psychic impressions, our physical activities, all of these are programmed in and through our brain. Charles Fillmore said that faith is the perceiving power of the mind. And in the physical body, all perception takes place in the brain. So it's via our faith and brain working together as one that we can perceive, hey, I'm a being of light. I'm a child of God. And then we can program this right into the brain itself. Jesus also said to Peter, I will give you the keys to the kingdom. And the keys are the key cells, the neurons, the brain cells that are found here. There's about 100 billion neurons. And each of these neurons have tiny nerve fibers that connect them to hundreds and thousands of other neurons. So this makes up this vast circuitry of our brain. In computer parlance, we would say this is the hardware of our computer brain. Now the hardware is just sitting there, waiting to be programmed. And the key is to program it with faith. Faith in God, the good. Faith in our own inner light, our own spiritual essence. Because when we have this faith, then we enter into the kingdom of heaven, which is what Jesus referred to. This is spiritual consciousness. Charles Fillmore, in his book, The 12 Powers of Man, said that the faith center in the physical body was the pineal gland. And the pineal gland is located right in the center of the brain. So he did have the right general location. And moreover, the pineal gland secretes the hormone melatonin. And melatonin regulates the functioning of our brain. But it really is the cerebrum of the brain. It is this central computer in which we program our thoughts and our beliefs. This computer has the key cells and the circuits on which we build. This is the rock on which we build in the light of our own spiritual self.
Seeing ourselves as an expression of the living God, this is the foundation. This is the basis of our faith, our perception, our insight, our ability to see ourselves, to image ourselves. This is this great central computer that we have that Dr. Knapp has told us about. This marvelous brain that is contained in this structure that is most like a rock of all of our body parts. This is the rock. This is the faith. In scientific language, well, Jesus didn't have that when he talked about the rock, but we can understand that he was referring to this marvelous thinking ability. See who you really are. Know your value. Realize your marvelous powers. I am a child of God, said Myrtle Fillmore. I am empowered from within to live my life in great ways and to make a great contribution to life. There's an old saying that I'll believe it when I see it, but that's not really the case. I'll see it when I believe it.
The idea of our 12 powers was developed in the early 1900s by Charles Fillmore, who founded Unity School with his wife, Myrtle. Unity has evolved into a modern spiritual movement based in suburban Kansas City, Missouri. Charles Fillmore conceived of 12 powers within all of us, which he described in his book, The 12 Powers of Man, published in 1930. He also was extremely interested in a transformative process of the human body, which he called regeneration. He felt that each of these innate mind powers has a corresponding center or location in our physical body. Charles Fillmore was not a medical doctor. He came to the powers and locations by meditating and experiencing an intuitive sense of the way energy flows in our mind and body. David and Galen Williamson and Dr. Robert Knapp have spent most of their lives researching and working with the 12 powers. They bring a unique, holistic approach to this exploration, which confirms and updates Fillmore's original ideas. David Williamson was ordained as a Unity minister in 1960. He earned his Doctor of Ministry degree at the Ecumenical Theological Seminary, specializing in holistic health and spirituality. Gay Lynn Williamson is a psychotherapist, a graduate from the Center for Humanistic Studies, and she is a Unity minister. She is co-author with her husband David of 2 books, Transformative Rituals, Celebrations for Personal Growth, and Golden Eggs, Spiritual Wisdom for Birthing Our Lives. Robert Knapp is a medical doctor with training in psychiatry. Since 1974, Dr. Knapp has used the 12 powers as the primary way of not only understanding himself as a whole person, but also in his healing work with others as a holistic physician. His extensive research and experience brings medical and scientific verification of Fillmore's insights.
This statue represents us, or our angelic or higher self. It's a lovely angel, isn't it? And there's a mental law that says that what we put our attention on, we connect with, or we're tied to. And so we have these threads here that we are connected with. The law says that where your attention goes, energy flows. And so our energy is flowing into these things. Well, let's say that my energy is flowing into, or my attention is centered on the newspaper. But let's say there's all kinds of dire predictions and all kinds of fearsome things in there. And I may need to detach from that sometime, and also to attach to a meditation guide or to the Bible, represented here in terms of spiritual awareness. Let's say that I'm doing a lot with outer communication on the phone here, represented by this phone. But I may need to detach from that sometimes and emphasize inner communication and put my attention within and have this inner communion as well as the outer conversations. Let's say that I'm working very hard and represented by this hammer. I may be in danger of becoming a workaholic, so I need to put that down sometime, detach from that, and attach to nature or recreation or renewal, represented by this beautiful shell. Also, I may be spending a lot of time with the television, giving a lot of attention. A lot of my energy is flowing into the television and TV watching. So I may need to detach from that sometimes and attach to this heart so that I spend quality time with others. I turn off the TV and I get with others in positive and creative and constructive ways. Some folks have to detach from this brown bottle, and detaching from that, letting it go, and they get attached in a very creative and positive way to Alcoholics Anonymous, represented here by the big book. Now, it's important to realize that we can't just detach. We have this choice to do that, but we have to reattach to something else. We disconnect and we reconnect. Jesus said, have faith in God, indicating that we can have faith, or we can give our attention to all kinds of things. And he says, give it to God. Give your attention, give your faith to the good. Put your faith in that which is healthy, which is positive, which is nourishing, which is creative, and which helps you to live, which helps you to express your angelic self and to have your energy flow into that which is positive, creative, and healthy.
By our faith, we are healed. This is what Jesus said on many occasions when he performed healings. So how does this work? How is it that faith restores health to our body? Well, we now know that faith externalizes as the cerebrum of the brain. It's this section here, the central computer for our whole body. So, when we have faith in ourselves, when we believe that we are healthy and holy and harmonious, then we program those thoughts, those feelings, right into our central computer. And then it works well, and our mind is clear, and we feel hopeful and trusting and full of confidence. Now, what happens when our faith falters? What happens when we are filled instead with fears and doubts and worries and feeling separate from God, feeling maybe that we have been abandoned by this God force? Well, the same process takes place. These thoughts and feelings program into the computer, and then our brain begins to shut down, to malfunction, and maybe now we develop some physical symptoms or a disorder of our brain. So, for example, one of the most common problems we have when we have difficulties with faith is that we have headaches. And these can be the more common tension headaches, or they can be migraine headaches. Other people may develop more serious disorders, diseases like epilepsy or various brain tumors. Now, particularly when we have this type of serious affliction, or when we have severe pain or a loss of consciousness, always see a physician. Go and get a proper diagnosis and start treatment. And then add to this some of the best of all of the other treatment modalities: nutrition and exercise and yoga and counseling and meditation. Use the best of all of these in a holistic approach. But remember this, the core of the holistic approach is your faith faculty. Faith and the brain function as two sides of one coin. They function together. So when you have a brain disorder, focus on your faith quality. Build it in, fortify it. Build it in by affirming, I am a child of God, and I am filled with this God light. I have faith in my own God self. And then we also can visualize this. So for example, maybe we see ourselves sitting under this magnificent waterfall of light, and it's the light of faith that pours down into our brain. When this light begins to congeal, and particularly when our faith becomes rock solid, then our symptoms dissolve and our brain works wonderfully again. By our faith, we are healed.
Faith is our perceiving power of mind. With our power of perception, our faith power, we see past the outer problems and difficulties to the essence, the spirit. I devised a simple exercise to help people experience this seeing the good. We have a person stand up in front of a group, and anyone there can speak positive words of praise and appreciation to the person. The words must be completely positive and be spoken directly to the person, not about them. I call it the seeing the good or appreciation celebration. Now, we did this one time when I was leading a young adult retreat.
And Ken, a young, handsome golf pro with an outgoing personality, was a participant in the week-long activities. And although Ken appeared to have everything going for him, he had a problem that gave him
How are
much
you
pain.
enjoying the retreat?
A speech impediment that caused him to stutter when he spoke. And it often took Ken a long time to share his thoughtful insights because of his stammering and stuttering.
Very much. Are you enjoying the retreat?
As the retreat ended, Ken's group shared their positive thoughts of love and support and appreciation for each other, and particularly with Ken. And they said, Ken, you're one of the most wonderful men I have met. I will never forget you. Your courage and faith inspire me. Ken received so many thoughts of appreciation, love, and support. He was deeply moved by their words of praise that he began spontaneously to thank everyone. And as Ken spoke, the group members looked at each other in astonishment. Ken was not stuttering. He continued talking for a few more minutes, and one amazed young woman in the group said, Ken, do you notice anything different? You're not stuttering anymore. Before the eyes of each person, a miracle occurred. A miracle of love and appreciation and faith. The group asked many questions. How could this happen? What happened to change a lifetime pattern of stuttering? Perhaps we can never scientifically explain how Ken overcame his impediment, but we can appreciate what did happen. He experienced a greater depth of faith and confidence in himself through the grace and love and kindness shared by friends. This positive faith literally reprogrammed the part of his brain that operates his speech mechanism. 2 years later, Ken returned for another retreat, and he continued to speak with ease and confidence, all because of the love and appreciation of a small group of caring people. Many people have low self-esteem. They negate and beat themselves up. Perhaps you do this too. Put yourself down. We can practice seeing the good in ourselves and others and heal our self-image and be a healing person with others.
Faith is my perceiving power of mind. How do I perceive? How do I see myself, my life, people, my body, my job, my world? What am I putting my attention on? Am I drawing upon invisible, unlimited resources? How am I using my amazing mental computer, my brain? I can focus my mental attention on lack of abundance, sickness or health, loneliness or friendship, fighting or peace. I can disconnect from things that are limiting or hurting and reconnect to life-affirming and life-giving activities. Remember, it is not I'll believe it when I see it, but rather I'll see it when I believe it.
More and more doctors these days are talking about the healing power of faith. And they point to all of the studies with the so-called placebo effect. So what's a placebo? Well, let's say David has a severe headache and I give him these 2 pills and he takes them and his headache goes away. But the pills are nothing but sugar. And so the pills did not heal his headache. Rather, it was his belief, his faith. This is the placebo effect. And it also works for many, many other disorders, heart disease and kidney problems, really for just about every disease that's known to mankind. So here's the 20th century science that goes ahead and proves what Jesus taught us. By your faith, you are healed.
And our perception of ourselves strongly influences everything that happens in our life, our relationships, our work, our families. And so we have to see, how am I perceiving myself? And if I perceive myself as not being able, not being capable, not being worthy, if I perceive myself as being unlovable, I need to change that perception. And by changing that perception about seeing myself as able, and I can change, and I can learn new things, and I am a lovable person, our life begins to change from the inside, from within us, out. As I perceive myself, so will my life follow.
And you know, we have to practice this, of course, and we don't necessarily get always what we want in life. More often we get what we expect. What do you expect to get? How do you focus your attention? Where are you putting your faith? There's one way that we can have this experience in a rather existential way of evaluating, of clarifying where we're investing our faith or our attention in life. And that is looking at our date book and our checkbook. Where am I spending my time and where am I spending my money? We'll get valuable information and clues and data as to where I'm investing my life. What is claiming my attention? Where our attention goes, our energy flows. And so we have this ability to express our faith power. And as we believe it, we will see it expressed for good in our lives.
I put my faith in God's order. I put